here we go.
See if I can get you through, and then we'll see if we can get me
I knew
through.
we were due for a mutter.
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah. This looks good, doesn't it? So this is lap number 1. And I remembered to turn my GoPro on once I got into this mud hole. So I came out of the start probably about, no, I think I was in 4th place on the start. Our class was huge. Well, it wasn't our class. They put 3 classes on our row. So we had Master, Senior, and another class, I think maybe 2-stroke bike. I can't remember now, but it made our line huge. So I came out of the whole 4th place and of course followed some guys up into this creek and got right up behind either 2 or 3 guys. All 3 were stuck, and everybody was just pinning their bike, and you can see I'm just literally, I mean, just covered in mud. I mean, everything, the entire front of me. Oh my gosh. So we're kind of working together at this point. Some of us are kind of helping each other out, because obviously you can see no one's going to get their bike out by themselves in this stuff. So what a way to start the race. Sorry about the noise. Sounds like somebody's cutting grass right outside the door here.
Sorry, man. I tried to stay up here.
So we walk up here and help some people out, and then get helped out, which was good. What a mess. At this point in time, I'm not trying to get too worked up over anything. There ain't no rushing in this kind of a mess. You know, you're gonna just have to take your time and get out, because the harder you try to work to get out, the more tired you're gonna be, and you're just gonna ruin the rest of the race. So
you all right, bud?
Just waiting for a hand here just to get my front wheel up a little bit. Take much there. Yeah, look at that seat. So at this point I'm trying to kind of figure out what to do. I do have a spare pair of gloves in my hydration pack, but it's like, I'm thinking, what's the use? My grips are so covered in mud, and my hands were so covered in mud, that I just kind of decided, you know what, at this point I'm just gonna run wet and sloppy as I am. I'm just gonna run and try and get moving and see what happens, and save the gloves, the spare gloves, for later, in case I get enough mud off the grips that I can actually switch my gloves out. But never end up switching my gloves out for this race, because it just never was necessarily a good time to do it. And you know, unless you can clean your grips off somewhat, changing the gloves ain't gonna help that much anyway. So it's really kind of holding my pace back here a little bit, because my hands are so wet and slimy. I figure if I hit anything really nasty, I'm not going to be able to hold on to the grips anyway. So kind of just cruising at this point, and just gonna try and start catching up to some people is all we can do. This is the first lap, and the track really is pretty good the first couple of laps. I mean, obviously the mud hole that we just got out of wasn't, but and the track was wet. I mean, it's raining here. It's not raining hard, but it is raining. It has been raining. But the track is still pretty good. I mean, I felt pretty good once I got going here. Even though I couldn't hang on to my bike, I still felt like I could run a pretty decent pace. So just kind of cruising here, feeling the track out, feeling dirt out. Got some new tires on, so kind of figuring out how hard we can push here. A lot of this up on the top was pretty good. You know, the only thing that was sketchy today was just the exposed roots. When you're on track that's still got a lot of leaves on it, and it's a track that gets a lot of use like this one, and the exposed roots can sneak up and bite you. So just kind of trying to find those and kind of just trying to run without going down. You know, that's the plan for the rest of this day. Survival, I guess you would say. I actually didn't get too tired in the mud hole because, like I said earlier, I just kind of tried to relax and just kind of take my time and get out. So my heart rate's not up. I still feel fairly decent, so just gonna see how the day goes. Figure just about everybody on the course right now has about a 6-minute lead on me. At least 6 minutes. I'm figuring, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes or something like that to get out of that mud hole at least. And, you know, the longer the track is getting rained on, the worse the track gets. The track, like I said, was pretty good my first lap, so I feel like I easily lost a whole lap getting stuck in the mud. Basically dealing with all of that, then dealing with the mud on my seat and the mud on my grips. I figure I lost a whole lap just from getting stuck in that mud hole. So that hurt me. And then at the end of the race, I think I pulled off. I pulled off before the race was over, and so that really cost me a lap. So I should have had 6 laps in, is my opinion. I know I seen the guy that got first in my class is a guy that normally I can run with without a problem, and I know he got 6 laps in. So that mud hole really kind of messed me up. But we'll just regroup for next race, and I figure third's not too bad for what I got stuck in. Sometimes you get stuck like that, and you get so tired out that, you know, it really ruins your whole race. But at this point in the day, even though I can't hang on to my bike, I feel really good. I'm not really not tired at all at this point. Eventually the mud on my grips and on my hands dries out a little bit, and it gets a little bit sticky, so it actually helps me hang on just a little bit. Finally gonna start catching up to a couple of people here and making a few passes. For a way by here, I think he lets me by on the outside. Yep. Yeah, it seemed like a good part of this race. I was kind of riding by myself. Getting stuck in the mud hole at the beginning, and then I think so many people pulled off early that, man, by the third lap, there was like nobody on the course. So until the pros, you know, were going by you, you know, and the guys, maybe the guys that are good in the mud and stuff like that, until they started kind of catching up with you, I mean, I was just riding by myself. The good thing about riding by yourself is you're not having to work and past anybody. But the bad thing is you don't feel like you're making up any ground. You know, you lose 6 or 7 minutes or something like that in a mud hole, and you don't feel like you're passing anybody. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. I'm like, man, you know, shouldn't I be catching up to somebody yet? But it takes a while when you're stuck, as long as some of us guys were in that mud hole. This hill here was pretty treacherous later in the race. A lot of people would get stuck on that. You'd have to kind of get around them, trying to go up out of that rut, you know, onto that off camera to try and get around people. And then I think I went up there the 4th lap, and there was a guy stuck in the rut, and I tried to get around him, and then I fell over. So you know how that goes. Other than that one little tip over, I had a pretty consistent race, really. I didn't fall over any other than just that one time. A lot of fun off camera here. By the last lap, all that off camera stuff got pretty nasty. Pretty hard to feel confident about where you were. Alright, so there's the end of the lap, and I went ahead and stopped. I think this is later in the race. I think this might be my 4th lap, I think. And finally stopped and got a set of goggles. I couldn't see anymore enough to ride safely, so pulled over. Got a set of goggles so I could actually see a little bit, and you know, and I'm able to pick up the pace just a little bit once I get some goggles. Wanted to try to avoid riding with no goggles if at all possible. And there again, if you can kind of keep moving quick enough to keep your tires from getting full of mud, then you'd be okay. But as you can tell there, it's getting pretty hard even to stay in the ruts. This little hill here was, you just had to really just kind of creep along it. Little momentum goes a long way. You can tell it's raining a bit harder now. But still not seeing hardly anybody on the track. I think lots of people have pulled off by this point in time. At least we got some good video, good footage of the starts. That turned out really good. I thought the starts video turned out nice. Hopefully you guys like that. Kind of ended up almost getting like 4 angles on the starts video. So from this point on, there were so few people kind of on the course, I just kind of whenever I seen somebody on the course, I just cut that footage in a little bit, just to have some footage of the track and some footage of the people that are still riding. We have to cross our fingers for some dry weather on the next race. We got a race in 2 weeks. It's kind of wanting to run the Hoosier, which is this coming weekend, but kind of hard for me to run on Sundays, so probably are not going to do the Hoosier, but we might try to do at least maybe 3 GNCCs this year. Probably going to do like the John Penton, and then I think they do that other one on the John Penton property, and then maybe of course the Ironman will probably do that one. So this is the Pro Hill, I think, there to the right. I remember seeing a red arrow going off to the right there. I never went that way. Zach said you better be absolutely pinned at the bottom if you're going to make it up it. He said it was pretty challenging. I guess there was a lot of exposed roots and a ledge in it, and you really just had to hit it just right to get up it. So raining pretty good here now. Just kind of again just getting some video of the carnage. At this point, this is definitely the 4th lap, and you can see there if you lose your momentum, you know, from going around somebody or something like that, it's tough. You gotta keep a certain speed up. Otherwise, you just can't keep going in a straight line. So the rain has kind of finally washed my GoPro off a little bit. Like I said, I didn't expect to get any footage of the whole race, but turned out I was able to get some footage. I can actually see the color of my front fender now. I think this is Brent up here, kind of sliding up the hill here, trying to sneak by here and get by without roosting everybody. Looks like Levi there put me another lap down. How my day started, I don't feel too bad about going a couple of laps down from Levi. Levi, Zach, and Wade, I think, are the 3 guys that did 7 laps. So Zach had a pretty good day. He didn't have any footage because he did not run his GoPro today. He probably wouldn't have. We probably wouldn't have had any footage even had he run it, because he doesn't generally wipe his GoPro, so he's got a little bit too much going on to think about wiping his GoPro. So generally, if it's a muddy race, we probably wouldn't have got any footage anyway, but he got a good start. He started right behind, I think there was looks like there was like maybe 7 or 8 pros, and he got a 2nd place start and kind of paced off Levi for a while, and then I think he had a little bit of a, you know, slid out in a turn or something like that. But he had a good race. They had him down for 3rd in pro, and so for his first pro race, that's not too bad. You can tell the pace here has really slowed. So hope everybody enjoyed the video. This was the mud race that we were due for sure. Been a while since we had one, so let's cross our fingers and hope that we don't have to deal with one here for a while again.